excited today, guys. I went to Michael's on the way home to get my granny grating for the windows, which I did in fact pick up. Also picked up some balsa wood for the doors. Then I went in the clearance aisle and very nearly wet myself. So let's take a look at what I found there. So the first thing I found were these mosaic stones. And the reason I was so excited about this is, one, they sell them there for 13 bucks for this, and I had looked at them before and I was like, I ain't paying 13 bucks for that. Had them in the clearance for $4. I'm not sure exactly why this one was $4. I think because some of them were cracked, but I really don't care. The reason I wanted these is because I am going to use these to make the floor on the inside of the tavern. So they're going to get kind of put together like this on the diagonal and make a floor out of them. Now, when I had looked at these originally, I liked the idea of doing that, but I did not want to spend $13, and so I was thinking I'll just carve them into the foam and try to paint them up. And I wasn't really looking forward to that because that was going to be a lot of carving and stuff. And then I saw this and I was just ecstatic. So that's how we're going to be doing the floor. Now I'm going to experiment with putting some washes on these and kind of, because they're a little bright, I want to kind of tone them down a little. So I'm going to experiment with some things on there because there's 300 stones. I don't need near that much. But that was awesome. And then the other thing I found there were these glass paints. And these things are normally $4.50 a can, and they were clearance for 79 cents. So I figured I would get some. Got some liquid lead, and I'm going to play around with possibly doing some kind of stained glass looking thing, not like church type stained glass, but just something colorful on those two big back windows. That may or may not look out of place, but I figured for 79 cents a bottle I'll play with that. So anyway, I was really excited. Now let's get back to actually building something. Alright, so I did a little more woodwork on these. I just wanted to show you because Floyd1677 pointed out, and rightly so, that there were a whole lot of blank spaces here, and that if this were a real building, the beams would actually crack and the whole thing would collapse. So I went back and put in some more support structures, and also I think it just gives it a bit more visual interest than everything being horizontal or vertical. I've got some angles in here now, and I think that makes it look a lot more interesting. So thanks for that, man. I appreciate that. Okay, guys, I've been promising you doors, so we're gonna do doors. So what I've got here is just an 1/8 inch piece of balsa wood. I just got a balsa wood plank and cut it out to fit into the door frame. Pretty simple, just stick door frame on it, draw with your pencil and cut it out. So we're going to take that and turn that into this. So I'm going to show you how I did that, and we'll get set up and get right back to it. Alright, I'm working with really small stuff here, so I will do my best to keep you in frame and keep my hands out of the way, but I make no promises. So step one's pretty easy. Just taking a mechanical pencil here, put the lead out a little bit, and then we're just going to draw some lines for the planks. And this is really soft wood. Try to keep the lines as straight as you can, and I'm just going to put 3 lines in here. So we'll have 4 planks in the door, and then we'll go back and deepen those lines up a bit. So you can see we've got some indentations. Now we need to do the same on the other side because we're actually going to see both sides of these doors. Alright, so that's step 1. Now step 2, we're just going to do the wood staining like we did with all the walls and all the other wood. So I'll just do that on here, and then we'll be right back. Okay, so that's all stained up. We're going to set it aside to dry. Make sure you get the top and the bottom and the sides there. And then we're going to work on the handles. So I just took some wire, some old copper wire. This is kind of thick gauge wire. So I just clipped off a hunk of that and found something round the size that I wanted. In my case, I just took one of my needle files, and the handle for it was perfect. And I just wound that wire around the needle like a spring. So you can see here that now I've got this coil of wire. And what you want to do is for each doorknob, you get some wire cutters and you just try to snip it where it's going to be a circle. It's a little hard to get into sometimes. There we go. Alright, so now I've just got this little snip of wire here. And you're going to want to have 2 pairs of pliers, preferably needle nose pliers, but I've only got 1 pair of needle nose, so I'm just using some regular pliers on the other side. What you're going to want to do is you want to bend this so that it's square there, and then we're going to want to separate it a little bit because we're going to get a little piece of foam and pinch it in there. I've just got a little tiny scrap piece of foam here because you don't need much at all. So I'm just kind of trimming out a little cube of foam, and you just make it as big as you want to, but it should be really, really small. Basically, what we're going to do is going to take our pliers and just pinch this around this piece of foam. Alright, so I tried recording me showing you how to put that together there, but there was just no way for me to get that on camera. All you could really see was my hands. But anyway, I just used the 2 pliers to pinch this wire ring around this piece of foam. Alright, so then what we're going to do is take this, my goodness, so small, take this and just paint this foam part silver. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and we'll be right back. Alright, so there's the ring, and I've painted the middle part silver. I'll probably do another coat of silver there, because I didn't prime that or anything. I'm just going to do 2 little coats of silver because there's going to be black wash over it anyway. So I'll just do another coat of silver, and then those are done. I've done 2 of them, 1 for each side of the door. So now the next thing we're going to do is the cross braces. So I've just got a piece of cereal cardboard here, and I cut this just a little less width than the door. Okay. And so we're just going to take a knife and be very careful with this and score off just a strip of this the width you want it to be. Alright, so I've got my 4 strips of cardboard here, so then what we're going to do is just take each one and do just snip the ends off at a 45. Again, not difficult. Alright, so, and do both ends so you end up with something that looks like a picket fence, but you want it on both sides. So I'm going to do this side too, and then just do that for every one of them and paint them silver. So I'll do that and then we'll be back. Alright, so I stained these up and then I threw a sepia wash over them once the stain was all dry. And so now you'll notice we've got a problem where, because this was so wet, it actually expanded the grains in the wood, and so we've lost a lot of our detail for the planks. So we're going to go back over this with a mechanical pencil with the lead stuck out just a little bit, because we want this actually kind of wide. So we're just going to go back over it like this to redefine these plank areas. So now we've got those drawn back in, and I've already done the same thing on the other side. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is we are going to glue on our hardware. Okay, this isn't very difficult. We're just going to glue one of these here, glue one of these at the top, and glue one of these at the bottom using white glue, and then we're going to let all that glue dry, and then we'll come back and do the next step. Now onto the rivets. So what we're going to do first is we're just going to use a little bit of the pencil and just push and put some divots right where we want the rivets to go. Now, what I'm using for rivets, and I'm not sure if this may be hard to find, but basically it's these, I'm not even sure you're going to be able to see them, but they're tiny, tiny little glass beads, and they actually use these to make road paint reflective. So this is actually road reflectors, but they're just tiny little glass beads. So that's what I'm going to be using for the rivets. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a tray here, and I'm just going to put a little bit of glue in the tray, and get a toothpick, and we're going to want to just get a little bit of glue and dab each one of these dents with a little glue. So I'm going to get one of these glass beads at a time, and I've got millions of them, so just pick up one in the tweezers, drop it in the glue, make sure it's in there real good. And so I'm just going to fill each one of these with one of these glass beads. Okay, so these dried, and I've got a coat of silver paint over them. So now what we want to do is I'm taking a kind of a gray wash here, and we're going to gray wash this stuff, and then there's going to be some black wash over it, but I want to kind of dull down the silver here a little bit first. I'm going to go ahead and black wash the lines here for the doors. So we just want to be kind of careful and just black wash those. Okay, so you see it just kind of brings them out a little bit. And then we're going to wait for this to dry, and then we'll black wash the rest of it. Alright, so the gray wash is dried, so now I'm just going to put a little bit of black wash, pretty thin brush, and I'm going to try to mostly limit it to the rivets here, just to make them stand out a little bit. And we're going to do some black wash on the handle, and then the rivets on the bottom. So there you go, there's the door. Once this dries, we'll set it aside because we're not going to glue them into the door frames quite yet. So that's what we look like in the frame, and I'm not sure what we'll be doing next time, but anyway, until then, you guys have a good one. Bye!